Welcome to the class. In this session, we are going to discuss about the applications of syntax directed translation. So the syntax directed translation techniques can be applied in type checking and intermediate code generation. And the main application is the construction of syntax trees. So since some compilers uses syntax tree as an intermediate representation, so the common form of SDD turns its input string into a tree. So to complete the translation to intermediate code, here the compiler may walk the syntax tree using some set of rules that are in effect on the syntax tree. Here we consider two SDDs for constructing the syntax tree for the given expression. The first one is the S attributed definition. So that is suitable for using during bottom-up parsing, and the second one is L attributed, so which is suitable for use during top-down parsing. And now we will see the construction of syntax tree. So we know that the syntax tree consists of number of nodes, and here each node in the syntax tree represents a construct, and the children of that node represent some meaningful components of the construct. So for example, when there is an expression like E1 plus E2, okay, if there is an expression like this, then how we can construct the syntax tree for this expression is taking plus operator as the root node or as a parent, and E1 will be at the left child and E2 will be at the right hand side, that is right child, right? So this is how a syntax tree can be constructed for this given expression. So here this E1 and E2 represent the sub expressions, and we shall implement the nodes of syntax tree by objects with some suitable number of fields here, and each object will have an operator field, so that should be the label of the node, and along with that field the objects will also have some additional fields. That is, if the node is a leaf, okay, if the node is a leaf node, then that additional field holds the lexical value for that leaf. So if the leaf is a if the node is a leaf node, then the additional field holds the lexical value for that leaf node. So here we are using the function that is leaf of operator comma value. So this function is used to create a leaf object. Then if the node is an interior node, okay, so if it is an interior node, then we have many additional fields that is based on the number of children of that node that is present in the syntax tree. For example, if plus is the intermediate node here, then this plus will have some object, okay, so that object contains number of fields, okay, and these fields are basically dependent on the children, okay, so the number of children of that particular intermediate node. So here the number of children is 2, which has E1 and E2, so the number of fields, okay, additional fields, it will be 2. So here it uses the function that is node, and this node contains operator field. Then after that operator field we have some additional field, and this additional fields depends on the number of children. So now let us take one example and try to construct the syntax tree for some simple expression. Okay, so this is the production that we are going to use to construct the syntax tree. So if you look at this production, here we have some basic arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, then assignment, okay, so this production is used here, and for this production we have a semantic rules, okay, so here we have the semantic rules for all these productions. So here whenever the first production, that is E implies E1 plus T, so whenever this first production is used and this rule creates a node. So if you look at here in the semantic rule for the production 1, we have E dot node is equal to new node plus comma E1 dot node and T dot node. So here this dot node is the attribute for this non-terminal E, and whenever this production is used, then here this production will create a new node, and this new node contains fields like the first field is the operator. So here the operator we are using is plus operator, and the second field is the left child. So here the left child will be E1, so E1 dot node, and the next field is the right child. So the right child used here is T. So T dot node will be created. So this is what the new node contains. It contains operator, then left child and right child of that parent node. So the second production also has the similar rule. So here instead of addition, here we have subtraction. So this also will create a new node with operator minus, then left child and right child. And coming to third production and fourth production. So here third production and fourth production, this is just an assignment statement, right? So we are just assigning the value of T to E and E to T here. So since this is assignment, this denotes that both E and T are equal here. So the value of T node is same as the E node. So here, since this is same, okay, here no new node is created for these two productions, for the production 3 and production 4. Then coming to production 5. So in production 5, we have a single terminal symbol at the right hand side. So ID is a terminal symbol, so which is present at the right hand side of the production. Here, since this is the terminal symbol, always the terminals will be present at the leaf of a tree, right? So here we are using the constructor leaf. So here we are going to use the constructor leaf to create a node which becomes the value of this T node. Okay, so this leaf node will becomes the value of this T node, and this leaf node, it contains the first one is the ID, that is the terminal symbol, and the second field contains the entry for that ID. In the same way, the next production, last production also contains T implies num, that is it contains terminal at the right hand side of the production. So here also we are going to use the constructor leaf to create a new node, and here also in the first argument is the terminal symbol num, and the second argument contains the value of that terminal symbol num. So now we will take one expression and see how to construct the syntax tree for that expression with the help of this production and the semantic rule. So let us take the expression a minus 4 plus c. Now we will create the syntax tree for this expression a minus 4 plus c with this production. So with the help of this production, starting from the symbol E, okay, that is non-terminal symbol E, we are going to expand this, that is we are going to derive this expression, okay, the given expression. And so this is the syntax tree constructed for this given expression a minus 4 plus c. So starting from the E node, okay, which is expanded as E node plus T node. Again we are expanding this E node as E node minus T node. Then this E node will be expanded as T node, and finally the T node is expanded as ID. And here also the same case, here the T node is expanded as num, and here the T node is expanded as ID. So when you look at the leaf, okay, when you look at the leaves in the syntax tree, so here this is the terminal symbol, and this is the terminal symbol, this is also terminal symbol, this is also terminal, and here this ID is also a terminal symbol. So all the leaves are the terminal symbols in this syntax tree. Also we have derived this expression here, that is ID. Here A is an ID, okay, A is an ID, so here ID minus value, that is num, okay, so num plus C, that is ID, right? So we derived this expression finally by this syntax tree. And here you can see the boxes, okay, these are all the objects of the symbols, okay, that is terminals as well as non-terminal symbols, or we can say these are all the objects for the leaf node and intermediate node. So when you look at this object is created for this ID, okay, so which is a terminal symbol here. So for this terminal ID we created this object, and this object contains two fields, and the first field contains ID and the second field contains the entry for A. Why? Because here in the expression the first ID is A, so this will be entered here, right? So it contains the entry for A. Then coming to the next node, E node. Okay, so when we look at this E node, for this E node we have the object. Okay, and this object contains three fields. Why? Because based on the number of children. Okay, this E node has three children, and starting from the operator. Okay, here the operator is minus, and here coming to the second field, the second field contains the pointer to the left child, and the third field contains the pointer to the right child. Okay, so when you look at the pointer here, so this is actually pointing to this ID which is present at the left hand side of this E node, and coming to this right hand the next field which is pointing to the object, and this object is referred by this T node which is the right child of this E node. Okay, in the same way here we have this object, and this object is created for this num, so which contains num and the value 4, so which is taken from this expression 4, right? So here it is 4. Then coming to the next object, if you look at this object is created for this intermediate node, and this contains the operator plus and the left child, that is pointing to the E node, that is left child of this E node, and here this field is pointing to the right child, that is T node, okay, which is the right child of E node. So here this is pointing here. And coming to this object is created for this ID, so it contains ID, and this field contains the entry for C. So as if you see in the expression, we have C here, right? So it contains the entry for C. This is what the syntax tree for this given expression with the semantic rule. So these are all the steps based on which the syntax tree is created. So the first step is P1, and in P1, for P1 we have created a leaf node, so which contains ID and entry for A. So this is the first one, that is P1. Then coming to P2, P2 contains again a leaf node, okay, and this leaf node contains number and 4. And coming to P3, so this is again we are creating a new node, so which is an intermediate node. This is an intermediate node, so here we are creating a new node, and this node contains the operator minus, and it contains P1 and P2. So this P1 and P2 are the left child and right child. And then P4, so which is used to create a new leaf node. So that is, here is a new leaf node that we created. This is P4, and this contains ID and entry for C. Then finally P5, and this P5 is for the intermediate node, so which creates a new node with operator plus, and the left child is P3 and the right child is P4. So this is the first application of syntax directed translation, that is construction of syntax tree. And the next application is structure of a type. So when we are going for the structure of a type, that is here when the parse tree structure differs from the syntax of input, then we are going to use inherited attributes. Okay, so here whenever the structure of the parse tree differs from the syntax of the given input, then we are going to use the inherited attributes, and these attributes can be used to carry information from one part of the parse tree to another. So here we'll see the one more example, okay, where a mismatch in structure is happening and how we are going to use this inherited attribute there. So let us consider this simple example, that is int 2 3. So whenever this declaration statement is read, so how we can read this is, it is array of 2 arrays with 3 integers. So the corresponding type expression given for this declaration statement is array. So that contains 2 array with 3 integers. Okay, so this is the corresponding type expression that can be given for this declaration statement. Now we'll construct the syntax tree for this expression. So how we can represent this expression in the form of tree is, this is how, that is, it contains array, and that array contains 2 array, and this array contains 3 integers. So here the operator array takes 2 parameters. So the first parameter is a number and the second parameter is a type. So here the array represents the type, and if the types are represented by trees, then this operator returns a tree node, okay, so which is labeled array. Okay, this returns a tree node array with 2 children, and one child is the number and the next one is the type again. So this is the simple example for constructing this tree for the given declaration statement. Now we'll take one more example. So we have a production like this, and in this production we have non-terminal t, and this non-terminal t generates either a basic type or an array type. For example, we have b, right? So whenever b is there, we have basic type, integer and float. And for c, we have array type, right? So this t can able to generate either the basic type or an array type. And when coming to non-terminal b, this non-terminal b generates any of the basic type, that is, the basic type can be either integer or float. And coming to the non-terminal c, so here the non-terminal c generates array components, okay, that is, it is represented in the square bracket, so it generates array components consisting of integers, and the next c non-terminal contains empty string. So these are all the semantic rules given for these productions. So here the non-terminals b and t have a synthesized attribute, okay, so that can be represented as dot t, okay, that can be represented as t, and the non-terminal c has 2 attributes here. One is inherited attribute, and that is represented as b, and the next one is synthesized attribute, and which is represented as t. So you can see here we have c dot b and c dot t, and here b means inherited attribute and here t represents the synthesized attribute. So here the inherited attribute b passes basic type, and the synthesized attribute t can accumulate the results. Now we will see the annotated parse tree for this given declaration statement, okay. For this statement, what could be the annotated parse tree, or how the annotated parse tree can be for this given declaration statement. So this is the annotated parse tree for that expression int 2 3, and here if you look at here, so at root node we have the non-terminal t. So here for this t, what is the production we are using? For this t we have production, that is b c. So here b is a synthesized attribute, and this value can be defined from this integer. And coming to this one, so here we have c, and for c we have both synthesized attribute as well as inherited attribute. So for this c dot b, okay, so for the inherited attribute b, so this, the value is taken actually from the attribute b. So according to this production, okay, according to the first production, you can see here we have a semantic rule that c dot b is equal to b dot t. So here we are passing the value of b to c, that is the value synthesized attribute value of b to inherited attribute value of c. So that is what happening here, and this integer value is also passed to all the child node of this inherited attribute c. So if you look at the last node, that is here, if we look at here, this c dot d, actually it contains epsilon as the production. So when this is the case, then we are just assigning the value of c dot b to c dot t here. So the same integer is assigned here. And for this c dot t and this c dot t, Here we are using this production, that is C implies num C1. So according to this semantic rule, we are just assigning the values for this C dot T and this C dot T. Right? So this is the annotated parse tree for the declaration statement integer 2, 3.